really well. So we have advisors who do join these Periscopes. This is, I hope, the last Periscope of the day. This is number 9.
Wow, you've been working hard today.
But that's what we do, right? But I don't do it just to do it and be on there and be a celebrity. I do it because the advisors watching are getting benefit, they're getting value, and part of that is learning more about FolioDynamix, learning the product solutions, figuring out how they can add that into the service offering that they add for their clients, their end investors. And so I'm with Joe Mrak. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
All right. Joe Mrak, CEO of FolioDynamix.
Correct.
And you shared a lot of information about trends among robo-advisors where, well, maybe they're not really new trends after all. In the early 90s when online trading came about, there were mono portfolios, there was low-cost trading. So you talked about that robos are really not a revolution but an evolution. So give me some more feedback about what you see now, and as a player in this space for decades now, what do you think that key takeaway is for attendees here at T3 Enterprise?
Well, I think the robo movement's interesting, right? It's not that it doesn't have merit. I just think the hype is a little bit overblown.
There's a lot of hype.
A lot of hype.
But when you collect $500 million plus in venture capital, you're going to attract a lot of attention.
Oh yeah, and a lot of those dollars are probably going to go in the wrong places. So it's interesting for me to watch as an entrepreneur, a guy that's taken private equity, taken venture money, and I watch the multiples in that space and the valuation expectations. And yeah, I think you know there were some points today made that's primarily because of the uber growth that they've had.
Potential uber growth.
Potential uber growth.
Because you also talked about that growth is slowing.
Well, you just look at look at the bull markets, right? We're probably might be at the end of one. I'm not sure yet. But I looked at like online, I look back to the original E-Trades, the TD Waterhouses, those types of firms. And online investing was all the hype.
And it was leading up to that .com boom. So the online low-cost brokers rode that train, and then your slide again started in 2009 at the bottom of the market, and the next train is this robo-advisor train.
Well, there's a lot of bull market geniuses out there, right?
That's right.
You can't pick a bad stock when the market's going up. I mean, you can, but it's few and far between.
Right.
So, these guys have gotten a lot of fuel from the fact that it's easy to invest, and the market's going up, so it doesn't look bad right now. I'm not, again, though, one of my theses was they're not bad products. They actually have pretty good returns.
That's right.
And especially net of fees. So, I mean, if you really think about it, I think what's driven a lot of their growth is the fees. And I think it's also what's also hurt advisors. It's made the advisory game harder. So it's not all just about technology, right? The technology is a piece of it, and what these guys are offering are pretty basic compared to what an actual financial advisor offers every day. I mean, if you look at it, they basically ask your age, they ask your income level, and guess what? They'll give you a portfolio.
Well, yeah, and does this feel risky to you, or does it feel safe? How would you describe yourself? And then, boom, here's a portfolio.
Right. And that's, if you really look at what an advisor does every day, it's quite a bit more work that's involved in terms of selecting product. I mean, you're going with whatever they've mass produced, which the mass affluent market's been underserved for quite some time. So I think it's all a good product.
Right.
But you're going after crumbs, really, when you think about it from an asset perspective. And I don't know that the hype's really going to hold up. But what I do believe is there's a lot of great things that we learn from what they've been able to do. And I do believe it's raised the bar in technology, it's raised the bar in how you run your practice, in the way that you think not only about your technology, but about the products that you offer. Because if these guys are out there selling stuff for 0.25%, 25 basis points, I mean, that's hard to make any money at. And I don't believe, and I know most of these firms aren't making money, so that's a real challenge on fee compression for financial advisors. So you have to rethink how you're going to the market with your portfolios. Do you come out with a really basic solution that goes after that mass affluent market? Do you make sure that you have those client touch technologies like the client portal, something that we just released that we feel was really an important part of that emotional feel? But you can't take that human equation. I just don't believe the human equation is really going to fall out overall ever, because there will be a correction. I mean, there's a correction.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Yeah, you can't send an email out and say, well, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be all right. There's going to have to be that human element where somebody's going to have to get on the phone, and that person's going to want a little bit of that personal touch.
Well, you can send an email out, and we can all send email out, but what's going to happen after that email? What's going to make an automated online service user sticky? are they going to have a reason to stick around? Because if it's easy to get in, I think it should be kind of easy to get out.
Well, yeah, they've definitely done a lot for account opening, right? If you look at some of the technologies in the Robo, the best thing that they've done is account opening. The thing is that there's a lot of companies here at T3 that have made that stuff very easy to do.
That's right. That's right.
We've been implementing that into our solutions. And so, yeah, the takeaway, that's an opportunity for the advisors.
Absolutely.
Right? So when that person isn't feeling good, or their assets reach a certain level and they say, hey, you know what, I really got to start thinking about, tax consequences, estate planning, maybe I need to protect these assets, should I be putting these into a trust?
Yeah.
Right? There's all sorts of factors that are not taken into account at all through these Robo models. It's just not there.
And so once again, your takeaway is there are a number of solutions out there that help advisors match those table stakes. We were talking with Lex Sokolin. He was the session right before you about meeting these new table stakes. And then FolioDynamix, you're continuing to make investments so that it helps advisors up their game.
Right. And the place, and Lex actually made a good point about it too, is the integrated solution. It's something that we founded our company upon,
right,
and really core to what we do every day. And that's one of the advantages we give advisors is efficiency. Everything's in one place. All your data is consistent. So if you look at data in a proposal to actually opening the account to actually looking at the performance report, it's all consistent. That's key for regulatory reasons. It's key to just be able to have confidence in the data that you're providing to your client when they call. Really quick access to information is important. Those are all they're table stakes, but quite frankly, not a lot of firms do it. Right? We've really focused on having that single integrated solution as being a hallmark of what we do.
Yeah.
And we get great feedback from advisors that that's essential to their everyday. So we've been excited about that, and that was one of the things that we also touched upon today. Is there's the reality of, okay, Robo's all great to talk about, but how do I run my business every day? How do I get efficiency? How do I reduce costs so that I can compete? Because those are big elements of beyond the technology that you have to be able to serve.
Well, that's right. It's kind of easy to buy something, plug it into your business, but then what?
Right.
What's the next step?
Right. Yeah. So it's a big part of where we're investing, and we continue to invest. And this year for us, it's a big push on the UI, user experience, workflow, those kinds of things. I mean, we built a really powerful application, but now we got to make that really easy. And that's probably one thing that I will give the Robo some credit is while it may be simple, it is easy. So, you have to make it easy, and advisors want easy. Everybody wants easy, but they still want all the customization, tax treatments. They want all that stuff too. So it's a really unique challenge.
That's it. It is. But I think you and FolioDynamix, you're up to the challenge.
We're ready. We've been ready since 2007. So, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Good. Well, thanks for spending the time with me to just help talk about this between the session concept, bring some of that information to our audience watching now, and allow them to understand what that message was that you were trying to communicate in your session here at T3 Enterprise.
Great. Thanks for the opportunity.
So, Joe, it's been a privilege.
Yeah, same here.
Absolutely.
Take care.